It is the day after. It is Monday, the day after. Today is the championship game. It is Alabama, 6.5. Why is it under 7? Let's talk about that first before we recap the NFL playoffs. Why is it not 7?
Well, Alabama was the favorite to start the season.
Okay.
No value on them. So the world has been betting Clemson.
All right, I'm going to put my
most of the season. And when they got hot, they continue to bet them. But the odds have been so low on Alabama all year for the future book stuff that the bookmakers need Alabama badly.
So you're telling me
to win and cover.
You look good with the glasses, by the way. So you're telling me that it's not the reason I thought when we were at your office before we came to Smash Burger and Smash These Burgers, which was
good burger.
We still agree Five Guys is better.
Yeah, Five Guys.
Five Guys is better.
Sorry.
I thought that the reason why is that the line should be, if it went to 7.5, they would get too much late action on Clemson.
They don't want any more Clemson money. They have so much Clemson money. They don't.
But aren't they set up for a middle now if they're by leaving at 6.5? Because if you already had Clemson.
No, because everybody's got Clemson on the money line. They need Clemson to win. The book is set up for middle. You're right.
Right.
But they need Alabama to win the game first and foremost. Just win by 1. But they also, there's a lot of plus money already being bet on Clemson to start out with.
So what's your? I wouldn't say a selection, but what's your personal opinion on this? What's your personal opinion on the game? Not a free selection, but just.
I like Alabama.
So when we were talking about last year they were down 24-21 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And the fourth quarter was just an explosion of points.
Do you see themselves putting themselves in that position? You think they're going to be more cognizant of trying to be ahead at half? I mean, look, it's a game. Anything can happen.
Yeah, no, they want to be ahead from the get-go. Believe me, they want to get out 7-0. They want to be up 14-0. They want to be up 21-0 at the half. That's what they're hoping for. But this is the best team they've played by far this year. Clemson's playing great. Obviously, they're beat down of Ohio State. An Ohio State team that really didn't deserve to be there. And usually teams that don't deserve to be there usually end up playing a little bit better than what Ohio State showed them. So it's a better Clemson defense than last year. Still got the weapons on offense. It's a dogfight, but Alabama is loaded, from number 1 to number 52 on their roster, 75. They're all 4 or 5-star guys. They've got so much depth and talent to wear you down. And, they're 10 points better than Clemson, but the value is on Clemson because of the plus price. That's why most of the year you're able to get Clemson at 15-1, 12-1, 10-1, 8-1, in those ranges during different parts of the season, where Alabama was always 2-1. So nobody was betting Alabama.
Right.
They have some bets, obviously, on Alabama, but not like they do on Clemson. Clemson was the one team they could lose the most on. And now when the line came out, the early money came in on Clemson as well.
Right.
I think you'll see it go down to 6 before it ever goes to 7.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this question. What did you think about this weekend? All 4 favorites, all home teams, all unders in the NFL playoffs, and then all the winners of this weekend are going to be underdogs except the Kansas City-Pittsburgh game. It's a 1-point game going into next week. And then you got the Patriots 15.5, and every game's hanging on a key number. So going into next week.
They always do. They do all the time. Well, last year, all 4 underdogs won last year. All 4 visitors, all 4 underdogs win. Now this year, all 4 favorites win.
All home teams.
All the home teams, and they all cover. Everything's different in the NFL. Everything.
And what about what we talked about? 120
handicap each game.
125, 125, and 4. So if you bet in 2, because 2 games win it. 4. 125, 125, and 4. So if you bet every game, all favorites or all dogs for the whole football season, you were 125, 125, and 4. And you said to me that's pretty much normal.
You lost 12.5 units. Yeah, it's about a game or 2 off. Usually, if you're betting all the favorites, you're 122, 127 maybe, and 4. Something in that range, or 123, 126, and 4. Usually the favorites cover 49% of the time, and they have for the last 30 years.
So it was just it proves how hard it is to actually win if you're trying to just pick winners versus position sizing with the money management.
Well, that just shows you how good the line is. You know, that's why what makes the NFL so difficult to beat is the line is so good.
And that half point makes a difference, especially on those key numbers.
Huge. Yeah, it's huge. It's
Yeah, because now when they say 125,
half point
125,
half
I don't know
point.
what they're basing that on. Is that the opening? Is that on the close?
That's very true. I always
See,
like to
I
keep
always-
my own records because I want to know what number they're using, what book they're using. You're right. That's.
I mean-
I'm going to guess it's the closing numbers, and I'm going to guess it's the closing numbers from a big offshore book, maybe like a BetRisk.
Right, exactly. But it's still
would
nonetheless, it was very interesting to see that it was basically right down the middle. And you're going to try to handicap
Well,
that.
every year it's right down the middle.
So
though.
when somebody says you're a dog better, you're a favorite better, you're just trying to get the edge on any game. I still go back to the pace of play, the second half of betting, whether it's in football, whether it's in basketball, which is really where you can still make a lot of money.
I always said totals are where to make your money at. In-game, halftime, all of those bets are, that's where you make your money.
And right now with college basketball, with teams like South Dakota State, Eastern Kentucky, these Gonzaga, these high-covering teams against the spread that are, you know, it's not the top 25 teams. I mean, teams like South Dakota State that are like, except Gonzaga.
Yeah.
What do you say to that? Would you
There's
look
some big-name teams that are really good at
Well,
home as
Gonzaga,
well.
but I'm saying like, and then you have teams in the NBA like Toronto. They win, they cover. San Antonio Spurs, they win, they don't cover. Golden State Warriors, they win, they don't cover so far.
Those
I
are
mean,
big numbers they're trying to cover.
Right,
too.
exactly.
That's why they never say lay that many points
The
in
other
a
night,
professional sport.
the other night when Memphis was playing, they were down 24.
Yeah,
If you in-game played that over at the up the street at the M,
yeah.
you put $100 on them and they were down 24. You won 16,000 when they came back and won.
Nice.
Well,
They had in-game over there. They finally started in-game back up?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I know offshore there was 100.
Offshore, yeah. Everybody's got in-game now.
But what do you think of that? Would you take a stab at stuff like that? You know, teams down 24, and you see them make a little run, and then they tie it out, they take it over.
to watch every game
Right.
like that.
Can you imagine that?
I think, yeah, the NBA's runs, it would be hard to go against Golden State, though, because they don't lose at home. They very rarely lose at home, so why would you even, it's like throwing $100 away, you know? I'd rather go against Memphis up 24 in the fourth quarter against Golden State.
You're probably not going to get that.
No, but I got a better shot. I'd rather go with a better team against a weaker team. That's what I like to do, find a better team that's down and, you know, play them. Most of my stuff I'm looking at is totals anyway.
Going into this time of year, now that you have basically the NFL is over, when did you start concentrating on doing your power ratings on?
Oh, baseball.
It's hard to believe we're talking about
I know,
baseball.
yeah, it's underway. I love baseball. We talked a lot about baseball, about more millionaires are made in baseball than any sport.
I was just at the
great
gym in
sport.
Baltimore, and they were talking about some second baseman coming in for the Orioles, and I'm listening to these guys. I said, well, "What's wrong?" They go, "The Ravens are out of it now. We got to talk about the Orioles." I said, "Man,
Right.
you guys switch
They
with the
switch
lights
so
quick.
fast. Why not?
Exactly.
Something to look forward to.
Exactly.
I'll probably start on my baseball work in the next couple of weeks. Not yet, but it'll probably be the week in between the Super Bowls when I'll start working on my baseball stuff.
And what is your take on hockey? Are you just? I know Brian, obviously our friend
Hockey's
Brian.
great. Hockey's a great sport to bet.
I know it's very streaky. 10-game winning
Yeah.
streaks, 11-game
Oh,
winning
my
streaks.
goodness. And overs,
Is
too.
that your trend? Is your friend?
Pittsburgh went over like 13 straight times this year.
So,
I
is that-
think
is that
trends
a-
are big in hockey.
You don't try to. You're not looking to stand in front of
No,
the freight train.
don't
trends.
try to buck them. That's just crazy. You know, everybody tries to double up, figuring it's going to end sooner or later. Sometimes they don't have to end. You usually run out of money before that streak ends, and it's usually you run out of money the next day the streak ends.
Right. Exactly.
So stay away from that kind of stuff.
Also, today's the Super Bowl of basically college football, and then February 7th, which is less than a month away. Today's January 9th. So on February 7th, we had the Super Bowl.
Right.
And that's when you hear about all the stories. And that's what we'll close the video before we get to your X Factor private service. We'll talk about before we have this video. But on January 9th, you'll hear on Monday the 10th, the stories of this guy took 300,000, he came to Las Vegas. You won't hear it so much today.
Right.
But you know, the guy flies, he gets on a plane with the last 300,000 to his name, and you hear all the stories of the winner, the guy that hit, and they always publish him. And this guy won, and that guy hit the futures bet on this team that shouldn't have won, and blah blah blah.
It's good marketing.
And, right, but you never hear about the quadrillion guys that lost, right?
Yeah.
But really, tonight's game, February 7th, it's just another game.
Just another game.
There's nothing special about the Alabama game. There's nothing special about the future Super Bowl. I say
those are harder to beat than
exactly. And you're a line maker.
Now there are some situations though in these type of games that it is another game. But let's say the game, if you like Alabama and they start the game with a fumble and Clemson gets field position and kicks a field goal, so what? Now you get a better price than Alabama. Now there might be some value, or maybe Clemson gets a touchdown early, or Alabama falls behind and you play it out and you watch a little bit of the game and you see how it's going and think, well, sooner or later Alabama's going to wear them down. And you get a good price on Bama. Last year I had Alabama +3, I think, at one point for the game. I did okay on the side. I got murdered on the total because I thought it was an under game. I thought it was, Alabama, conservative defense. And, that game will go under, and they just kept scoring. Fourth quarter.
Somebody told me once when you bet yesterday I had Pittsburgh in the under, but somebody it doesn't fit my story, but when you bet the dog and you bet the under, you always start a winner.
You always start a winner?
And you're waiting to lose.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Dog and under,
you're waiting to lose, baby.
Waiting to lose, but
you always have that chance, right? You always have that chance. And so yesterday I had Pittsburgh and I had the under.
You had a favorite.
Right. And so I was watching that total and I was going, it's just a matter of time before Pittsburgh just either lets them,
Boy, they're awfully good at home.
And
Green Bay, too.
It stayed under, which was amazing that the game stayed under.
Green Bay in December and January.
As you know, that most of the sharp money was on the Giants.
That's because of Eli and what he's done as an underdog, and he's done well in Green Bay. He's played well there, but Green Bay doesn't lose in December and January. They just don't lose.
So, if you want to find out how to access this man's plays, a lot of people claim to have access to his plays. A lot of people talk about Kenny White this and Kenny White that. How many years ago were you featured as the leaner version of you? No, really, honestly, there's not many guys. I would honestly not look. I'm going to be 44.
He's really lean.
I'm going to be 44 on January 31st.
He doesn't like to eat
Listen,
as much as I do.
Just to prove it to everybody, I'm going to be. Look at that.
Is that you?
Look, that's me.
Holy cow!
I'm going to be 44 on January 31st.
How old were you in that picture?
40.
40. 4 years ago.
4 years ago. That's me 4 years ago. Look at that. At a mean 211. I would say there's not many 44-year-olds and 43-year-olds, 50-year-olds that are in this shape. Right, so we're basically 10 years apart, decade apart, that are in this shape. He showed me how to eat a hamburger today with half a bun. Half a bun. That was the half a bun trick. At least throw out half the bun.
Yeah.
If you want to find out how to access the real Kenny White's plays, how many years ago were you on 60 Minutes?
Oh boy, I don't know, 8 years ago.
So
time flies when you're having fun.
People still Google search the Billy Walters 60 Minutes interview. People call my office and they say, I'd like to find out how to access your numbers, how to find out the real story behind you. They can access the videos on the website at oddsxfactor.com. They can you have your initial consensus on your website for as little as $99 with your early analysis for as little as $25 a week, guys. $25 a week. You can get an analysis of his games. But those are basically your numbered plays. Then injuries come in, weather report happens, especially with the outdoor events, not like basketball. And then you get late information, and that doesn't mean like you're reading some fantasy book, late information. Late information, obviously, is updated injury reports, updated weather reports. Even here in Nevada, I mean, look, it's amazing looking at the skies in the winter.
Yeah, right.
It never fails here, the crazy weather here. It could be, I think it was like 30 degrees the other day, and then it's like 80 the next day.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
A little cold out today. Windy and everything.
We're banging it with the t-shirts. And then you play the game within the game, the pace plays. click that little VIP link on the website. You can call the office, get the passcode. It's not good, better, or worse plays. It's not an upsell. He is too busy to get on the phone and deal with you. That he is, because he's a player and he's analyzing the games and he's a line maker. Do you get on the phone? No.
No, I have no time.
No. He's not. That's not his game. He's not a phone guy.
You need to pry me away today just to get.
Just that. Well, it wasn't that hard to have a hamburger. You were hungry.
Yeah, I was starving.
Right. So just lead him with the burger.
Late day. It was an early morning and a lot of work, and I didn't get much for breakfast.
But you will text me when you're watching a game, or you see the numbers on your phone, and you go, pace of play. These teams are running up and down the field. And it really, you're more of an analytical numbers guy. And this is where two different things converge. I'll be on the radio tomorrow at 1400 AM with Brian. Brian likes to always tell me about the eye test.
Yeah.
And he likes to physically watch the game. But I like I like his approach, but I also like your approach, which is you don't need to watch the games, because if it's a Saturday and there's 40 games on the board, how are you going to watch 40 games?
Right.
And you and I seem to come more from the school of data is data.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. So you like you were telling me, you could literally be at the gym.
That's why the pace is so good. The numbers don't lie. It shows fast pace, slow pace, medium pace. Then the shooting numbers, are they on fire? You didn't have to watch the game. If they shot 55% in the first half, yeah, they were on fire. You didn't need to watch to know that, and that's why, I think the eye test is a bad test, because you're not relying on the numbers at that point. You're relying on what you think is what you think. And most people rely on the eye test. 95% of all gamblers rely on the eye test.
And that's why computers and algorithms pull that away. The hedge funds and the big syndicates, they're using computers. And like you said,
numbers.
And that's how a line can be 125 and 125, and it was all done by computers and math models. It had nothing to do with anybody watching any games on TV.
Very true. It's all crunching the numbers.
And this is why you can't take every favorite that's down at halftime and bet them. Like yesterday, George Washington was getting murdered by Richmond. And they played in Washington, D.C. basically. And they made the line 6 in the second half, and of course they won by 5. Stuck it up everybody, Right. If it was that easy, then everybody would do it.
Was laying it.
Everybody was laying it.
That was the right number.
What's that?
6 was the right number.
And they won by 5.
Yeah.
So the question is, like, people look at that and go, how's that possible that I lost that game? Well, you always, if it's the right number, then you shouldn't probably even be betting it.
Right. You're right about that, and that's why, like tonight's game, sometimes these games are a little different, Super Bowl, this game, because there are value opportunities. Like in the Super Bowl, you're going to get value on the money line on the favorite, because everybody likes to come in and bet the plus price. I'm going to look for that tonight. If I can get Alabama...
Value on the money line on the favorite.
On the favorite.
Okay.
Because everybody likes to take the big plus price.
So when we left the office, the secretary, your data entry guy, his wife, she says, I like that Clemson money line. Typical square better.
They all love the big price. Well, it's a good football team. What's not to like?
Right, exactly.
But you know what? If you can let me lay less than $2 on Alabama, Alabama's won this game I don't know how many times. Clemson never has.
Right.
And until you win this game,
you got to prove it to me.
You have to prove it. And Clemson.
And you'll lay 240. You'll lay 240 on a pitcher that you know is not going to make it to the ninth inning in baseball.
There's a better chance Clemson makes a big mistake tonight because they choke under the pressure than Alabama.
There you have it. So if you want to find out how to access this man's plays, you get them when you come in from the outside to the inside. And you can even come to Las Vegas. We'll show you where to get the best smash burger, the best Five Guys burger, the best food in all of Las Vegas. Because one thing the Kenny White knows how to do is show you where the best restaurants are as well. He loves to eat. Bread, you won't get any of that.
Meat.
Bread,
Steak.
we won't eat. Meat,
Steak.
we'll eat a lot of. This is your Monday National Championship Alabama Clemson report. Good day and good luck.